Good morning. Welcome to Unity Center of Pittsburgh. My name is Cheryl Lowitzer. I'm your facilitator today. We're blessed to have as our musicians the lovely Lucy Clabby and Mila Shadle. And I am so looking forward to the talk by our speaker, Patti Perhacs, the inestimable Patti Perhacs, I might add, on Serenity. So let's begin by reading our welcome. Well, I just welcomed you, reading our vision and mission. So together, everyone, including everyone online, please say it out loud with us. We envision a spiritually awakened world flowing with divine love. We are an inclusive, loving, growing community dedicated to teach, inspire, and practice positive spiritual living. It's the practice part that's really important. So we'll start with a song called Rise, so why don't we all stand?
Rise together.
Rise.
Feel free to join us, move, sing, whatever you're feeling this morning. I close my eyes, I open my heart. I take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in, I feel the beat that's calling us to rise. Oh, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. I ready my soul, I clear my mind. I'm here and now, in present time. I feel the power
great way to start off the month of June. Okay, let us be here present, as it mentions in the song. Be in this present moment with all of your light, with all of the Spirit rising in you. And let us light the Christ candle and say our unity principles. Oh, we have a new box of matches. Yay. It is. Joy. Joy is in the little things. Okay, where's the little wick? There we go. All right. We light this unity candle to remind all of us of the light that's in us when we can get the candle lit. And, isn't that sometimes the truth? Like, you think your light's gone out, and all you need to do is find another way to strike your match. So, here we go. And booyah. We have the light. All right. Ow, don't burn yourself. Don't burn yourself when you're shining. All right, let's recite our unity principles together. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Through prayer and meditation, we increase our conscious contact with God, bringing forth love, wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good. Knowledge of these principles is not enough. We must live them. So as we come into the service today, I want us all to tap into that peace, that Spirit of God, the Spirit of love that lives within each and every one of us. And believe it or not, it even lives within the people that when we look at them or think about them, we may not like them. However, we can always love the love of God that created them, even if it's really hard to see. That's where we need to use our Christ vision. All right, we have another song about peace.
We're going to sing Peace is Flowing Like a River. If you want to join us at home in the space, let's sing together. Peace is flowing like a river, flowing out from you and me, flowing out into the desert, setting all the captives free. Joy is flowing like a river, flowing out from you and me, flowing out into the desert, setting all the captives free. Love is flowing like a river, flowing out from you and me, flowing out into the desert, setting all the captives free. Hope is flowing like a river, flowing out from you Thanks, everybody.
Okay. All right, so think of those words: peace, love, joy, and hope. And I want you to choose the one. Choose the one that today is going to flow out from you, no matter what the circumstances. Where are we? Oh, the daily word. Optimism. What a great word. Optimism colors my world with love. And I'm going to say this in the hour instead of the I. Our experience of the world depends on the attitude we bring to it. When we hold positive thoughts and share the love in our hearts generously, the world becomes a more inviting, friendly place. Optimism makes us a magnet for positive people, exciting opportunities, and serendipity. Isn't it interesting? Serendipity, serenity. It lifts our consciousness out of the mire or muck of worry, anxiety, and fear, and keeps us focused on the beauty of the earth, like those gorgeous purple flowers that are outside our building. The goodness of people, the goodness of every single person here in this room, and the presence and power of God. Good orderly direction, love, however you want to think of the term God. When we perceive God in the kind acts, selfless impulses, and loving service happening all around us, our optimism grows. We can feel renewed and inspired as we focus on what is right and good in our lives. In gratitude for the world's wonders, we grow in optimism. Romans 12:21, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. There's someone who said that the best revenge is being kind to someone. So let's repeat our daily word affirmation 3 times. Optimism colors my world with love. Optimism colors my world with love. Optimism colors my world with love. And who's more loving than children, right? They'll just come right up to you, give you a love hug, wrap themselves around your knees, drool all over you if they're little. So think of the children in your lives. Think of the child that you were and still are. You know, we all have that childlike enthusiasm and grace and joy. Remember that in the children in your life, in the children in the world, especially the children for whom enthusiasm and joy and love doesn't feel as if it's present for them. Hold all these children and see them growing into the very best possible versions of themselves that they can be. Oh, speaking of children, we've got one coming in right now. Oh, yay! So we want to hold the children in our lives, the children in ourselves, the children in our world with love and ease and grace and blessing. And again, welcome to our very own little bag of diamonds. Okay, we're going to, for those of you at home, Devin and Lindsay just brought in their little DJ. And as you can tell, it delights all of us. Yes. So, prayer requests are going to come after our next song, which is Only Love. So think about who it is that you want to hold up in prayer. And I'm going to go back to that peace like a river. Who is it in your life today? And remember, start with your inner circle because that's where peace always begins. Who do you want to be a river of love, of joy, of peace, and of hope for today? And hold them in your mind as we go into one of my favorite songs that Unity does. Ta-da.
There is only love. If you want to join us at home, we're going to sing together. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes to see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. Beautiful. Thank you.
So I hope that everyone online, everyone here today remembers that you are only love. And as you complete your prayer slip, which is in a little slot in front of the chairs, hold people up in prayer and see the highest and best unfolding for them. And when it says seeing, it's not your eyes, it's your spiritual vision. So you can place your prayer request slips in the collection basket, and they're going to go to Silent Unity where they pray on them for 30 days. So online, silentunity.org. And you know what? They also have a phone line that's always answered by a person. Very, very good tool if you need it. So today's service was created for you and you to uplift and inspire us. So we're going to thank you in advance for your very generous donations that support our ministry. And now, without further ado, we're going to talk about serenity. Even the word makes you feel more calm. Thank you, Patti.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's good to be back. It's been a little while, huh? I haven't seen you for a while, and you know, I'm always lucky to be able to do a service. And sometimes I wonder why I don't volunteer to do more of them. But the reason why is when you prepare for a service, you actually start a couple weeks in advance. So my process is I put out a thought to Spirit and say, okay, I need some inspiration. Marco's going to be contacting me asking for what am I speaking on, a topic and a description. I need information. And it starts to come, right? And sometimes things just happen in your life and you think, I have to share this. But I worked with Serenity. And, we have somebody calling in? Do we have a caller on the phone? I'm kidding, I'm sorry. So Serenity, forget where I was, bringing that process in allowed me to really work with myself, with everything that's going on in our world, and particularly in our political systems here at home and across the world. That's probably what gives me the most angst. So I know I need to work with serenity, and I need to find that peace within me regularly. So we're going to talk about that because the title really is about seeking serenity and recognizing when we need to seek it. So we're going to discuss the what, the why, the how to cultivate, and more importantly, how we best benefit from serenity. So that's pretty much where we're going with this. Now, if you read the description of serenity that was sent in the email and that's online on YouTube, you'll see there are some verses. And the first one reads, "If we love the truth, we are not afraid. We are bold to put out in the sea of faith and let down our healing thoughts." And that is from Myrtle Filmore, one of the founders of Unity. And I like that, and it inspired me for this presentation today, because we do have to be bold in our faith. We have to be bold in our faith and trust it more so than anything, because it's so easy to just let our personality and our mind in this physical world rule how we think and go about our life. But it's through faith and the understanding of how spirit works, the cosmos works, how the substance of God creates and works through us. Well, that is where we find serenity. In the Kyballion, which is, of course, I talked about this some time ago, Hermetic principles, which are information that could be some of the oldest information ever brought forth and has influenced, I believe, all religions, including Christianity and the practice and teachings of Jesus, in my opinion. But it was written, the book, The Three Initiates, Hermetic Principles by William Walker Atkinson, and he, if you recall, was a New Thought pioneer. And he says, "Where fall the footsteps of the master, the ears of those ready for his teachings open wide." Right. In Psalms 119, it reads, "Great peace have those who love your law, and nothing can make them stumble." That's powerful, right? And that ties into what we talk about, truth principles, the universal laws. Today we'll talk a little bit about cause and effect, because that certainly affects causes, and how we process and experience our life creates our experiences, and that is the effect. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And in Matthew, and we do have a special meditation later that includes a beautiful song that Matthew 11:28 influences, or is the inspiration for. It reads, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle, I am humble of heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." That's right, DJ. So serenity, we're going to discuss serenity. And I talked about cause and effect. And we understand that, we live in this world of dualities. We have the joy, we have love, we have light, we see kindness all over the world. But yet we also see darkness, divisiveness, imbalance. And that is the duality in which we need to walk and have our presence and bring our presence of God. So for some, the cause may be the daily demands of the daily grind. And for others, it might even be just meeting basic needs each day, which can wear a person down and allow errant thoughts of lack, hardship, true hardship, and you can't deny that, affect our peace, our serenity. Or for, like me, the things that you see going on in the world that upsets you. And these emotional demands really can take their toll, and we lose sight. Our boat may be out, and as Myrtle Filmore said, on that sea of faith. However, sometimes we get stuck, right? There's a log, there's something, maybe our anchor falls out, and we just get stuck. And we are no longer gliding and flowing with Spirit. So that's when we look for serenity. I have a video I want to play for you from a very favorite show that I think a lot of us may have watched. Here we go. In our past.
I got no leg room back
Hopefully
here.
you can
Move
hear
your
it.
seat forward.
It's as far as it goes.
Can't hear
There's
it.
a mechanism. You just pull it and throw your body weight.
I pulled it. It doesn't go.
If you want the leg room, say you want the leg room. Don't blame the mechanism.
All right, Dad, we're 5 blocks from the house. Sit sideways.
Like an animal. Because of her, I have to sit here like an animal. Serenity now! Serenity now!
What is that?
Doctor gave me a relaxation cassette. When my blood pressure gets too high, the man on the tape tells me to say, Serenity now!
Are you supposed to yell it?
The man on the tape wasn't specific.
It's a little piece of humor for how we sometimes go about our lives. And, that Frank, you have to give him credit. He was looking for serenity. He had that recognition that he needed it in his life. But I thought it was a fun way to kind of laugh at ourselves, because don't we do that too? Maybe not literally in that sense, but in our own way. So, we always have to look in the mirror. So we're seeking serenity. And again, thanks, Frank, for teaching us how not to do it. So we know Spirit, we know Source, God, Presence, pure being, whatever name you assign it, is always within us. And it is in that serenity of that moment that we relinquish this mental mind, this physical world, and merge with that higher self within, that God, Spirit, serenity, all the same, is felt, is experienced. And it's in this knowing and in this being that we want to develop our landscape of life, that place in which we survey, create, experience, and respond to life. It's the challenges, the joys, and the opportunities for action that we want to begin with that state, that consciousness of serenity, rather than agitation, impatience, fear, anxiety. You understand what I'm talking about, because we all feel this way at times. So when we're worried, we're fearful, we're despondent, we're agitated, it is a red flag. It's a call to go within to that great reservoir of Spirit. And what's a reservoir, right? It's literally in our physical world, it's a body of water that we have on reserve. Well, think of Spirit and serenity and that quiet place within you as your reservoir. It never runs out. It always replenishes you, and it always fills your cup. It's that lake of peace, that field of dreams, the garden of inspiration, that mountain that Jesus often took us to symbolically in the Gospels, that is the place of strength, yet peace, power, yet serenity. It's where we're restored in oneness with Father, Mother, God. So each time we turn our mental mind from this world of limitation, of disappointment, of disasters, to our divine mind, we receive that greatest resource of pure being. We seek serenity daily, whether we recognize it or not. It's when we take that walk, or maybe as a mom, try to find 5 minutes of rest and quiet and peace when the baby is sleeping, and recalibrate, right, and rejuvenate ourselves. For like the Buddha, and like the Christ and many other masterful teachers, we become restless with the physical world, and we seek that higher consciousness. not only seek it, we want to develop it fully. What we found satisfying in life no longer satisfies, becomes mundane, becomes a little boring. And we recognize that we hunger for spiritual alignment fully. We want oneness. We want unification with Spirit. And we'll find it as we go through life, that nothing else will satisfy us. We have to fill our spiritual cup. We have to do it daily. And that becomes the most important thing for us. We do this in the solace and in the serenity of stillness, of prayer, of meditation, of music, a quiet walk, as we let go and let God. You know, often people go to a walk in the forest, perhaps, or a walk in a park. Usually it's places, when you think about it, where we seek serenity is where there aren't any people. When that occurred to me yesterday, I started chuckling, because it's really the energy of other people and their thoughts, and any thoughts that affect us. And that's why meditating early in the morning before people are up and the world is busy, is a really good time to meditate, or in the evening when things have settled down and the stillness is easy to find as we seek to fill ourselves. So serenity is always available to us through that light of consciousness and our understanding of spiritual law and principles, like we talk about in our 5 basic principles, and understanding that peace we receive as we surrender to the light in that one divine mind of God. And how often do you consciously think, I want to surrender to the light, to the divine mind of God? Do you ever turn to your spouse or your partner and say, excuse me, I need to go surrender to Spirit? Or, hey, what do you want to do today? Let's go surrender. We don't. We don't think of it as an activity, for one, and that's saying something, right? It's probably something we need to make time for in a more precise, specific way in our lives. But it also is where we're going to find the greatest fulfillment, the greatest joy of our lives. And that's plural. So it's always available to us, and we need to seek it, go for it, find it, and bring it forth. And yes, we can do that moment to moment, but we know that's difficult to do sometimes when someone is talking to you, or someone is yelling at you, or you're just dealing with whatever the situation in front of you. But ask God, ask Spirit, ask that higher mind to come forth. For whatever we ask for in the Father's name, the name of God, it will be given. So it says in John. So ask for serenity. Ask for guidance. And as David prayed in Psalm 25, make me know your way, O Lord. Teach me your path. Isn't that all our purposes? Isn't that all what we want? We want to be good stewards in life. We want to bring that light forward. We want to enjoy our lives, have families, love our neighbors. That's what everyone wants. How do we get it? Consistent prayer and affirmation conditions the mind and heart. Consistent prayer and affirmation conditions the mind and heart. It helps us develop that understanding of truth. It helps us think of a cup of tea. You put that tea bag in and you let it steep, right? You give it some time, and over time, that tea becomes strong and potent. Well, think of your spirit in the same way. The more you spend time with Spirit, in the stillness, as well as in your daily going about your life, the more you cultivate that tea. So when life becomes difficult, or sadness and concerns overwhelm you, take it to prayer. Take it to affirmation, rather than looking outside for those pacifications. Psalm 91 reads, He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I say of Jehovah, here is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. He's telling us when our eyes are fixed on spirit, no harm can come to us. Now, that doesn't mean physical things don't occur. But we are always whole, perfect, and one in spirit, for that is the truth of who we are. And our enlightened soul within us will help us get there and recognize that. It will correct our course for us. It will move us forward so that we may stay steadfast in faith and in trust. How do you regain your serenity? How do you reconnect? Well, I can tell you when I find myself in an uneasy state or I wake up in the middle of the night and something's troubling my mind, I personally recite the Lord's Prayer, and that helps bring me to an even balanced state of serenity, because consistent prayer and meditation releases the mind and conditions the heart of unity of God. This is the message today. Consistent prayer releases the mind. As you go through the day, evoke that prayer of God active in your life. Another prayer I turn to, and it's probably after the Our Father, the Lord's Prayer. The 23rd Psalm is probably one of the most potent and well-known and read and recited prayer. And then there's another prayer, which we're going to talk a little bit about, actually where it came about, which I think is really interesting, and that is the Serenity prayer. And that is used worldwide, and of course is of a more contemporary prayer. So let's think about the 23rd Psalm. It was written by David, who became anointed the king of Israel, but before that, he was just a simple shepherd. Now think about that life path, from shepherd to king. Now part of that could be thought of in the physical, and I think that's relevant. But we also want to think about that ourselves. For what David learned was that the divine love is individualized in human consciousness. And that's what's stressed in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary when you look up David and read about David, who discovered that he indeed is a temple. And you'll realize as you read this psalm or recite this psalm that he recognizes how God assists us, but what we need to understand is he recognizes that God is within him, because when he cries, Lord, we're talking about Jehovah, we're talking about Christ, and isn't the Christ part and particle of who we are? It's our divine nature, it's our spirit, it's who we are. So David recognized, and I think we have to too, and this is what's missing out in the world, we need to bring it forward. No one's going to do it for us. Yes, we have assistance, and divine substance has a function and a form in our life, but we have to bring it forward. And it's within us. It's not that hard to do. It's like any other talent you might bring out. So the 23rd Psalm. Understanding David's life as a shepherd, he uses that analogy. So let's think about the 23rd Psalm with that lens of a metaphysical mind, because consistent prayer conditions the mind and heart. And the first line, of course, is, the Lord is my shepherd. Now, a shepherd in this case was minding sheep. And metaphysically, sheep is often referred to as our thoughts. And as we know, our thoughts often wander. Maybe yours has wandered just now also. Come back. And our thoughts sometimes wander off into the wrong way of thinking, right? We start imagining things that aren't balanced for ourselves. We start seeing things like, what if this happens? The what ifs start, and we start imagining all that. So our thoughts do wander off, and in this analogy, in this prayer, the shepherd tells us that thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So thoughts are errant at times. Those are our sheep. But Filmore teaches us that sheep is also the idea of gentle creatures, right? That's what a sheep typically is, and it represents our natural life. So as pure being flows into spiritual consciousness in your mind and heart, you might say, using that sheep analogy, that gate to the pasture opens for us, and we are released into that great pasture of the mind of God. So he makes us to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters, and he restores my soul. This is an affirmation. Think about it. When you're feeling out of sorts or you're just not where you want to be, affirm, he leads me beside the still waters. And I tell you, when you do that, you will find calmness and serenity within you. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. We are led by Spirit, and we have only to call upon Spirit to receive through those various planes of life and through thought. So he leads me to the path of righteousness. If we follow the word, we find peace, we find serenity, we find love. We find that we can steadfast in any situation. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, you comfort me. So even at those last moments, or even in situations that feel dire to us, we know that the presence of God is within us, watches over us, and guides us. We're never alone. You prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Our anointing, isn't our anointing our awakening? Or perhaps another way to think of it is when we're born. And that soul comes to this life, takes on our form as we are born into this world. We bring all of that. And we know that when we seek spirit or connect to spirit, the kingdom of God, as it's often referred to, is given unto us. And surely goodness and mercy with an awakened mind and a heart of spirit will follow us all the days of our life. And we know life is eternal. So our Christ itself, our spiritual being, will continue on in this life and the next. Since conditioning our mind is fertilized through prayer, I wanted to mention the Serenity prayer. Well, the Serenity prayer is actually quite interesting. I did some research because I didn't know where it came from. I was like, who wrote this? Where did this come from? Is this a particular sect of religious sect that I wasn't aware of? And it turns out theologian Reinhold Niebuhr wrote it. And he is really an interesting man. If you're not familiar with him, I would encourage you to do some search online and read. There's a lot of information about him. There's actually even books written about him. So this invocation, the Serenity Prayer, also provides comfort, as the 23rd Psalm does, as the Lord's Prayer does, as your affirmations will. But it also is a prayer of surrender. And I believe, it has been adopted across the world. How many people have said the Serenity Prayer at least once? If not 100 times in your life, right? Yes, of course. And it's a great prayer, especially the shortened Alcoholics Anonymous version, because it's short and sweet and it makes it easy to recite. But that wasn't the original. The original is actually longer, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But I want to mention that Reinhold Niebuhr's father was an evangelical pastor. He was a pacifist, and so was Reinhold. And Reinhold was actually a pastor. He actually wrote this prayer in 41, and from what my research said, he recited it in a lecture, a sermon at service. He was Presbyterian, and that's when it became public. He was a theologian. He was a pacifist, as I mentioned, but one of the interesting things about him is that he influenced the political scene. Now think about it, 1943. That's during World War II. And he was for supporting U.S. involvement in the war. He opposed communism and Nazism. It just so happens that my wife and I watched The Tattooist of Auschwitz. It's a limited series on I think it's Paramount. Really powerful. I was a little resistant to watching it because I didn't really want to ruin my serenity. But we watched it, and I'm really glad we did. You know, over 6 million people were taken to concentration camps, and we know millions died. But the one stat that really stuck out for me was that 700,000 children were brought there or born there. Only 423 left with their lives. Not to mention all the adults. And I really encourage you to watch this film. It's actually also a love story, but it's really informative historically. I mean, I grew up, I studied this. You know, I've gone to Jewish services. You know, I like to think of myself as ecumenical, and I embrace all religion. So I have a sense of Judaism, and I learned so much in this film about what occurred and how it occurred. And it's based on a true story of a gentleman who survived. Really powerful, something we should all watch, something the whole world should watch, quite frankly. Enough on that. But there's a quote, and I think this is really important in today's climate. He says, "The tendency to claim God as an ally for our partisan value and desires is the source of all religious fanaticism." Isn't that true? I just thought that was really, really powerful. And an interesting thought, and certainly the right thing to bring forward during World War II and now. There's another really great quote. It says, "Nothing that is worth doing can be achieved in our lifetime. Therefore, we must be saved by hope. Nothing which is true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we must be saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we must be saved by love. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or foe as it is from our standpoint. Therefore, we must be saved by the final form of love, which is forgiveness." I just think his words are so powerful, and there's so much truth. And through there, we hear about faith and love, and it's all the attributes of that spirit, that God, that light within us. And that last line, that no one sees things exactly as we do, is a really good reminder, not only for the big world problems, but also the little things in our lives with our partners, our friends, our neighbors, our workmates. So the Serenity prayer. Let's all recite what's up on the screen or at home together. God, give us grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, the courage to change the things that should be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish one from the other. This was the excerpt, it's not in full, from Reinhold's sermon. And I liked the difference. It's subtle, but it's big. God give us the grace to accept that serenity, because sometimes we just can't get there, and we need help, right? The courage to change the things that should be changed. So we have to acknowledge that. Sometimes I think New Thought metaphysicians, spiritual people, we think, okay, it'll work out, everything's in divine order, but we also have to be active in change. Didn't we learn that from Martin Luther King, Gandhi, all the greats? Pacifism, great approach, but we have to be active. We can't just expect other people to do it for us. We have to live it. We have to live our light. We have to live our truth. And that's not just when it's convenient. That's when it's hard as well. And if you watch that film, you'll see just how hard it can be, but people still live with light. And I also have the Alcoholics Anonymous short version, which we're familiar with. And then I was inspired. And in a meditation, the temperance card from the Rider-Waite Tarot deck came to mind. And I like this card. I've always liked this card. For me, it's a temperance card, which of course is about moderation. But I like this card because there's one foot in water, and water is reflective of emotions. And there's one foot on the earth. So it's so true that we're always balancing our emotions with this earthly experience. But as you see the enlightenment on this individual depicted in this card, you see the halo that's depicted on saints. And why not see that as ourselves and recognize that light surrounds us, is us, and we too can balance life's challenges, our emotions, our experiences, that cause and effect. We can balance all of that with prayer, with stillness, with meditation, or with song. That's great songs we had today. So here's a prayer that came through, and I wrote it for myself, and I'll share it with you. Infinite Spirit grants me the serenity of a heart and mind of light, which guides my inner being through both the dark and the light. Calling upon my infinite power, I am guided as an active force of good for change in the world. Unified in oneness, I stand beside still waters, and my soul is restored. As I tap into the deep wisdom of spirit, I live serenely, unaffected by outside circumstances. And you could see this was the accumulation of focusing on serenity over these last couple of weeks, of the 23rd Psalm, of the prayer of serenity. It's how do we bring this? And this is a good expression of how do we bring this, all this information we have, into our lives? How do we use it? What prayer will it bring forth from us if we let it, if we listen, if we receive? Prayer, the consistent prayer conditions the mind and brings us to a place of serenity with God. The more we strongly desire, the more we evoke spirit active in our life, the more we give energy and time and action to that stillness, that presence, connecting with that presence within us, the more we increase that contact little by little, day by day, just like anything else we learn and develop as a talent, we increase our will, our desire, our intention of unity, and it begins to blossom forth. And it'll happen. You'll see in your meditations, things will change, surprises will come, and trust me, you'll be delighted. This unification is where we develop that fertile land of serenity, and likewise the attention of unification, which always feeds that serenity state, that landscape, that view of the garden of the pasture, of the mountain. For as it is written, perfect love casts out fear. And now we're going to prepare ourselves for a meditation. It'll be a short meditation, but the special experience we're going to have today is a beautiful song that's going to be presented as part of our meditation. And it's from that Matthew chapter 11, verses 28-30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Lucy, please sing for us. And please bring yourself to a state of meditation. And when the song is over, I will come back to you and we will move forward with our service.
You shall cross the barren desert, but you shall not die of thirst. You shall wander far in safety, though you do not know the way. You shall speak your words in foreign lands, and all will understand. You shall see the face of God and live. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest. If you pass through raging waters, in the sea you shall not drown. If you walk amid the burning flames, you shall not be harmed. If you stand before the power of hell, and death is at your side, know that I am with you through it all. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest.
Grounds of serenity, where you will find your heart open to that fullness and beauty of who you really are. You will see yourself in the presence of light. You will see yourself whole. There will be no contradictions of thought, no judgment of right and wrong of who you are. Just pure being, just light. For you and I are one. We are one in that great cosmic consciousness. We are one in that great spirit, that pure being that gives life to all things. And in this place of oneness, we take comfort and know that surely goodness and life will follow us all the days of our lives, and we will dwell with the light as one forever.
Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest.
But it's been our pleasure. Thank you very much. God bless you.
That was a beautiful lesson for today. So, as we continue to grow and manifest prosperity in infinite ways, I want to welcome you if you're here for the first time. And will introduce myself to you afterwards. My name is Cheryl. I'm the ops manager on my little sign. Where am I? Oh, right there. If you're online, I know a few of you, there seem to be like at least a dozen or more people online, and some of you have weighed in, so welcome from New Hampshire and back from camping trips and back from Oklahoma. We're so happy you're sharing your energy with us online. So let's do our prosperity prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Oh, another song. Yay.
I think, is Jan that's going to come around and... Oh, you already did that? All right. I'm just going to sing. I'll stick with what I know. We're going to sing Face of God. If you would like to join us, a little call and response, whatever you're feeling, the call, the response, all of it, feel free to join us at home. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. Thank you, everybody.
All right, all the faces of love, it's so wonderful. So we're going to wrap up with some kind of announcements. All right, most important thing. We have one meeting a year. One. It's next Sunday, June 9th. Okay, people online, it's going to be in person. This is an in-person experience. You are not going to miss it, or you're going to sit at home going, oh, FOMO. Yes, you are. Because there's a potluck. We're going to talk about all the wonderful things that have happened and that are happening. You know you don't want to miss that. I'm talking to you, Kenna. All right. So we have our congregational meeting. There's a lot of important things coming up. You may or may not receive an email this week with some questions. I'm debating because I really want butts in seats. All right, that's the point. All right, so that's right after service. There's a potluck. If you feel so inspired to bring a little pot of luck, that's great. If you don't, chips. The most important thing is your presence, okay? We all have more than enough food in this congregation. So we don't have enough people in seats, so get here. All right, have you gotten my point? Yes, all right. The other big thing that's happening is we've got Reverend Chichi Rivera coming back with angel readings on June 30th, immediately after service. And on June 26th, if you're curious about unity and you want to know more or you want to learn more, go deeper with your understanding, we do an overview of unity on the last Sunday of the month at the end of service. Okay, let's do our peace on earth and wrap it up.
Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
Okay, that's it. Oh, surrounds me. I am light. The love of God enfolds me. I am love. The power of God protects me. I am power. The presence of God watches over me. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right, so thank you for being here and bringing your loving energy to the service. Greet each other. Let's continue to envision a world in a Pittsburgh filled with peace and love and harmony and all that jazz. See you next week for the membership meeting.